Well, in Syria, the president there has promised to consider reforms after a week of violent protests in the southern city of Deraa. But that hasn't stopped protesters who've called for countrywide demonstrations on Friday. Thousands of people were on the streets on Thursday to mourn people who say were shot during the government's crackdown. There are reports that President Bashar al-Assad will speak to the nation within the next few hours to try to calm the situation. Rula Amin joins me now from Damascus. Rula, as we say, the president expected to address his population. He has offered some quite substantial concessions, but they don't seem to be, or we don't know yet whether they're going to have an impact on the day's protests.
Yes, it remains to be seen. However, we did speak to many Syrians, including the people in Deraa, and the response to these measures is mixed. Now, the activists and hardcore opposition activists are very skeptical, and they say these are just lip services and won't change much. Others do give the president the benefit of the doubt, and they say this is a good start. Let's give him some time. Maybe it will materialize, and maybe there will be change in Syria without having or forcing the people to go onto the streets. We have to remember, so far the protests have been confined to Deraa, despite 7 days of very strong clashes and that dozens were killed. The capital remained quiet, and so are the rest of the Syrian towns. Now today it's going to be a challenge and a test both for the activists and the opposition and the government. If the people take to the streets in other towns, maybe the concessions are too late. If they don't, it means the president had managed to contain the crisis in Deraa, and that some of the people, some Syrians at least, have bought his line, are giving him time and putting some faith in these measures, in these new measures.
But the fact that the measures have been offered at all, Rula, put this into context for us. How surprising is that, given that this is a regime which has a history of heavy-handed, brutal crackdowns on any kind of uprising?
Yes, 6 months ago, nobody would have dreamt that these kind of concessions would be made in Syria. But a month ago, it seems very logical. Now, I arrived here on Sunday, and the minute I arrived, it was obvious that both the people, the Syrian people and the government, realized that change is coming to Syria. The government knows it cannot continue with its old ways, and the president had made it clear he understands the need to reform, and he will do it. The people want it now, they want it serious, they want it meaningful, and they don't want to wait. And there is a race with time. Now, some people believe that the president himself wants to change, but he is surrounded by a group of people or the system itself that's not allowing him to do what he wants to do. This is kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt. The protest in Syria, the protest in Deraa, had added more pressure on the government and made the government feel that it's very urgent to act now before it's too late. So for now, it seems the president is keen to contain the crisis in Syria, and he's determined. People want to make sure he is also determined to bring change to Syria, not just to contain the crisis.
Well, of course, we will be following the developments there with you, Rula. Thanks very much indeed for now. Rula Amin in Damascus there.